which was the biggest challenge that you faced throughout this process of creating this engineer?
I think there are two. One, technologically. You know, you go out, you come to these conferences and you see these amazing tools, but then you go back and you're like, okay, how do I implement in my little shop? And you have to really sit down and think about it if it's worth it, because maybe you want to explore it, but then it takes you 3 months. Meanwhile, you have your to-do list that keeps building, and your boss wants to have results. When they come and say, I want to do this yesterday, usually, right? So that's one thing. Then how much you have to study at the beginning. You have to learn all this. Can you set aside the time to do it in a busy schedule? And it's been pretty challenging. The biggest challenge, in my opinion, and this is something that it's interesting from an engineer, weird but engineer, is that the biggest investment is holding hands with the user and tell them, don't worry, sit down with me and I'll show you how to do it, and start to let the curiosity to build. And once they are up and running, they're using, then they become great user, and actually they give you lots of feedback and maybe they help you. But I've learned, especially in the research lab, I did, this one is neurophysiology. Before I was doing fMRI research, and before that I was fMRI different research. You can have the best tool, but it's not going anywhere because you have to babysit the person. So that's where I actually spend most of my time. So I have like this initial time where I set up the tool, and then as much as frustrating as it can be, because you're a technical person, you want to keep going, you have to step back and go and say, okay, come with me. Let's go and have coffee or a beer or whatever you like, and let me tell you, let me show you what I've done. And then they see that you are able to do these kind of queries, and they're like, oh, maybe it's worth the investment of my time. These are students or PhD students, so that time is precious.
Okay. So you work closely with your users,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's probably being built for them, right?
Yes.
But despite that, do you see any other usages for this tool outside of this field?
I will. Of the tool itself, I'm not sure. I haven't sat down with people from industry and see what they think. Definitely some of the concepts, yes. But so far we have been busy just taking our data and getting to a place where they can be used that I haven't even thought about it. I mean, that's actually, this is the second time that I present this one, and it's the first time that I presented to an audience that is not research-oriented. So.
You also mentioned out of the gazillion of technologies that we have out there, did you consider any of those other technologies before starting on investing?
Yes, yes, and we go back to the same thing. Like when I came last year, or looking around, you see Hadoop, you see what's the other one? I mean, there are tons of them, and there are each one has its own ecosystem. But then you go back and you're like, okay, this is a great tool, but these people that I have to interface, they're bringing up their MATLAB GUI, and not kidding, start their analysis, and then they leave and go and get coffee and read the paper because their computer is, stop. And I'm like, we are in the 21st century, maybe. I'm like, 22nd, whatever it is. And I'm like, why don't we invest some of our time to improve the process, not the results. But you have to think about it. They are under pressure and they want to get to the paper. They want to get to the results. So that has been the challenge part for me, to actually come in and say, okay, slow down. Why are you doing this way? Because you don't realize that what happens is that you start it and then you go and you come back and it crashes. So then you have to restart it again. And so I'm like, if you have a system that kinds of integrate in what they're already doing, and allows them to do this restart and multiple runs, they adopted pretty quickly. But if you take, some of the open source projects that as much as I would love to have my hands dirty in them, I know that I have a lot of work to do to actually install them, make sure that they run properly, and then go out and say, integrate them, with what we do, and with what we have in the lab. So.
What kind of challenges do you expect for this tool for NDF in the coming years?
Well, one of the challenges, and I'm keeping my eyes open, is to find something that is close by, right? And I can adopt it and just, port the data and forget about it, because right now this one is all our work. So it's me and another person. And so, when you start to become bigger, you use more of your time. It would be nice to, or this one gets adopted outside the lab, so you have a community of people that are going to use it, and so you get help, or I switch to something that is close by, that with minimal work you can integrate it. So that's, I'd be happy to talk to anybody that says, look, I have something similar, can we do some work and merge it, and I can use it in my environment. And, unfortunately, the research environment, each PI, principal investigator, if you don't know, the people who actually put their signature on the grants, they have their own idea, and it's a complete anarchy. So it's really hard to find a common ground that, makes you tell them, hey, let's do this. So, they see the final, they see, over the edge, but they never see sometimes what's under their feet that will help them to use it. And, that's where my role in my lab has become, basically.
We ran out of time, but if somebody has any quick question, we can.
I fried their brain.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.